Welcome to Not Entirely Unlike Tea with Christine Collins. Hey there, it's Christine Collins, and today we're going to talk about water, and we're going to look at some of the neuroscientific impact that water has on our minds and our bodies. You may have at some point had the experience of having a bath or a shower or a swim, a dip in the ocean, and noticing that it feels almost like stress is melting away or washing off. And I have often been curious about what the impacts are of water, both neuroscientifically and physiologically. And it turns out that it's not something that's just in our head or imagined. I think that we have always intuitively understood that it feels like water heals something in us emotionally. And that has been sort of contemplated and understood throughout history. But now we have a little bit more of the background on why it feels that way. And there are differences in the type of water immersion. So for example, with cold water, and it doesn't have to be ice cold, just cold-ish, triggering an immediate cascade of neurotransmitters, increases in dopamine, norepinephrine, serotonin, and beta endorphins, the same chemicals that are attempting to be imitated by antidepressants. The water triggers them naturally. Even with just a 5-minute cool water dip, people might feel more alert, more attentive, more inspired, and less distressed or nervous or anxious. And fMRI scans actually show that increased connectivity between brain regions that don't normally communicate as well. The medial prefrontal cortex, the anterior cingulate cortex, and the insula, your brain's attention and emotional processing areas, tend to communicate more efficiently and become more integrated. On the flip side, warm water also has some benefits in a different way. Water at a skin temperature activates the parasympathetic nervous system, so the relaxation, the rest and digest, balancing out the sympathetic system. And when alternating between the hot and the cooler temperature water, brain scans actually show an increase in alpha and theta brainwave activity, which is something we talk about a lot in the context of using tools like hypnosis, relaxation tools. These are brainwave patterns that are associated with a deeper meditative state in which we have enhanced cognitive function, more creativity, and a sense of pleasure or bliss, along with mental clarity. A lot of times we get some of our best ideas when we're able to get down into those deeper, more meditative states of alpha and theta. We also have thermoreceptors in the skin, which are specialized nerve endings that can detect these changes in temperature. And when water touches our skin, those receptors are activated, and that can impact the emotional state as well. When there's full immersion, not just touching water, but being immersed in water, where the entire body is surrounded by water, we get something called spatial summation. Millions of receptors activated at the same time with a combined signal to the brain that is much more powerful. And it's something that our nervous system is designed to respond to. And there's even a mildly meditative state that comes just from being near to water, in, near, or under water. It holds your attention without dominating your attention, very differently than many of our other modern technologies like screens, which actually deplete our attention. Water has a more gentle, changing nature that allows our default mode network to activate. And that is a brain state associated with creativity, introspection, and a feeling of spaciousness. And that can happen whether you're floating in the ocean or sitting in a bathtub. The visual and auditory properties of water itself, the movement, the sound, the way the light catches on the surface, create some of this soft fascination that can help us to slip into a meditative, calm state. And then there's another element of weightlessness when you're in water, removing the gravitational load on your body, on your muscles, on your joints, and allowing your nervous system a break. When you're weightless, some of the neural resources that are associated with keeping you upright, keeping you balanced, become freed up. They have the opportunity to rest or to be directed to other things. And then there's also a psychological cleansing effect. And this borders almost between neuroscience and a sense of something that's more spiritual in a way. In some ways, the physical act of becoming cleansed by water provides a psychological response for removing emotional and mental residue, washing away troubles, cleansing negative energy. Some of the same neural circuits are activated, and the metaphor begins to feel neurologically like reality. So it can be both symbolic and practical. There's also discharge of energy, sometimes known as grounding, because our body actually holds electricity. Heartbeats, thoughts, muscle contractions are all electrical events. And in our modern world, we are surrounded with electromagnetic fields in various different forms, everything from Wi-Fi to power lines, and they can induce an electrical charge, a positive electrical charge in the body where we're literally building up voltage. So water is highly conductive. So when we're immersed in water, there's an electrical connection. It can create a feeling of grounding where there is more of an equilibrium, reducing electrical resistance and freeing up electrons to flow in. Electrons being natural antioxidants, neutralizing free radicals, and reducing inflammation. And it also shifts our autonomic nervous system towards parasympathetic, which is a more relaxed state of dominance, helping to control cortisol and stress. And that can also help with an improved mood, better vagal tone, tied to our emotional regulation, and reducing inflammation. And while we can notice a heightened response when we're in natural bodies of water, like the ocean and salt water, it doesn't require that to have some of these same benefits. Even a pool or bathtub can allow for some of these mechanisms to work. There are similar mental health benefits between swimming in a pool and swimming in the ocean. There's a reduction in anxiety, mood improvement, sensory engagement, the same thermal effects of hot and cool, the same weightlessness and buoyancy from immersion, the same meditative state becomes possible, as well as that metaphorical cleansing effect. And what's interesting is that it seems to be more dependent on dose or consistency than the source itself. So doing it more frequently, whatever form you have, whether it's swimming or taking a bath versus swimming in the ocean, the consistency seems to be more impactful doing it more frequently. And for lots of reasons, our brains are kind of wired to respond to water. Our bodies are a large percentage of water, and even our brains are a very large percentage of water by volume. So there are metaphorical and spiritual effects, as well as very clear physical and neuroscientific effects. So when you're feeling overwhelmed, when your nervous system is feeling worn down, or you need to reset in some way, water can become almost like neurobiological medicine, some form of water immersion. And this is something that becomes easier to benefit from when you look at all of the different forms that are possible. And if you are looking for various other ways to achieve a nervous system reset, to get into some of those alpha and theta brainwave states that we mentioned that are meditative, inspire creativity and focus, another fantastic tool for doing so is using hypnosis, particularly recorded hypnosis, where it is easier to be consistent because you can play it on repeat and listen every morning to start your day, every evening before going to sleep, or somewhere in the middle of your day to enhance your creativity, your productivity, idea generation, innovation. All of these things are improved by accessing alpha and theta brainwave states. If you'd like to try it out, I offer a membership that includes hypnosis recordings, as well as some other incredibly powerful mindset tools like EFT tapping videos, yoga nidra recordings, and other short meditations, all of which can help you to get into some of these deeper, more meditative states that are healing, restorative, and very powerful in soothing your nervous system. You can check all of that out in the show notes, and until the next time we connect, I wish you the most magical and creative rest of your day. Thanks for listening. This is Christine Collins at ravenmosaic.com.